All right. So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the AIB Pillar 3 Implementation Committee meeting for September. I hope everyone had a good, enjoyable, fun summer, and we're now back into a brand new school year and doing career counseling. I'm Kirkland Murray. I'm the local workforce development director for Anne Arundel County, Maryland, and president of the Maryland Workforce Association. It's my pleasure to co-chair this committee. My partner in crime, Olivia Peterson from Prince George's, has chose not to continue with this committee. So we will be discussing a another co-chair of this committee in the future. But before we do that, why don't we have our other committee members introduce themselves and say a few opening remarks? Or I'd like to go to Dave Harper.
Thank you, Kirk. Dave Harper joining from Chesapeake College, serving 5 counties on Maryland's Eastern Shore. And a pass to Robin Werner.
Hi, everybody. Excuse me. I'm Robin Werner, Director of Teaching and Learning for Talbot County Public Schools, and I will pass it to Nona.
Hi, everyone. I'm Nona Carroll, the Chief of Talent Ecosystem for Baltimore's Promise, new role for me, and I'm glad to continue this role. And so I will pass it to Isha.
Hi, my name is Isha Unde. I'm from Howard County, Maryland, and I'm a student member on Pillar 3.
All right. Well, welcome to all the committee members. Good to see your faces and being part of this and starting back up. So we have one new member, Jack, and I'm sorry, I forget Jack's last name. And
Wilson.
Jack Wilson, I believe he's from Queen Anne County, is a new board member to this Pillar 3 committee. I don't see Jack going yet, but hopefully he'll be able to join us, if not for the rest of this meeting and a future meeting pretty soon, so you guys will get to meet Jack. So one of the things that we want to talk about is committee leadership positions. As I mentioned, Olivia has chosen to sit down from this committee. We thank her for all of her leadership. She was one of the original committee members and served for many years and really led us through where we are now through the implementation of Pillar 3. But now we would like to see if there's any of our existing committee members who would be interested in working with me and the AIB and chairing and putting this meeting together and leading these meetings.
And I think if there's interest, forward an email to Rachel A. at AIB. So we don't have to do the public discussion, but if you have interest, yeah, please feel free.
Dave, I think that's particularly wise just so that we can include everybody in the opportunity to express interest. And once Jack is able to hear that conversation, we don't have any restrictions on you have to be a returning member. And your committee also has at times had 3 folks in leadership roles. And so we've had a secretary in the past. So that's also an option if anyone is interested in that.
And just a special note, thanks to Olivia, as Kirk said, for fulfilling her terms. And to Jack for coming on. We're excited because Commissioner Wilson is also, I think, leading MACo, the Maryland Association of Counties, this year. So he's got a particular perspective from a couple of different regions and from a state leadership role.
Excellent.
And Kirk, I would be interested in talking more with you about that now that I'm getting settled into my role. So.
All right. Any other conversation on this topic? All right, hearing none, then we'll move over to AIB updates. Rachel?
Perfect. As you know, our Pillar 3 policy analyst, Gretchen Cheney, is typically here, but I got the added privilege of coming back today. And Gretchen's unable to be here today. So I'm here and I'm joined by Libby Diamond, who has shifted to Pillar 2. But we've got a couple of announcements to bring just to catch you up to speed of what's happening as we kick off the new school year. And the first of those announcements is to share that we had 2 new board members appointed reappointed. So if you recall back at the end of last school year, Dr. Dr. Stapleton had stepped down from the AIB board, and Joe Manko was up for an opportunity to be reappointed, and he was reappointed. And then we're super excited from the Pillar 3 side of things that Robin Werner has been nominated, appointed to serve as an AIB actual member, which means that there'll be a vacancy here on the Pillar 3 team. At Thursday's AIB meeting, we do plan to move forward with the process to identify someone to be able to take this seat. And then in the near future, all board members will be kind of reassigned to the pillar liaison roles for all of the advisory committees. In that regard, some of them just can't meet at the dates and times when certain pillars meet. So they're looking at their expertise and their availability of which member can serve each advisory committee as a liaison. In addition to Robin being on the team, we also welcome Dr. Cantina Quick, got it backwards, Cantina Quick McQueen. There we go. I am having a rough day today. So we are excited to have both of them on the AIB, and we're very much looking forward to this new phase that we're in here with all of these progress monitoring meetings and kind of the next level of blueprint implementation, if you will. We're kind of out of the stand-up phase, and Robin and Cantina join us as we're really shifting into the monitoring progress phase. So on that note, we have completed several progress monitoring meetings with LEAs. I'm beginning to lose count, but I think we've done 4 or 5 of them. They're going very, very well. We're very much enjoying the opportunity to sit down across the table and to hear local context. How is Blueprint going in your district? What are the challenges? What are the successes? Every county gets about 3 hours to come to either Baltimore or Annapolis. And at that meeting, you have AIB staff, MSDE staff, and 2 to 3 AIB board members who are able to walk through implementation plans and progress and be able to just engage in dialogue about the uniqueness of Blueprint implementation in their district. These will continue until about the middle of October. By then, we'll have met with all 24 of our counties. In addition to that, I wanted to mention that in June, I believe, all of the advisory committees hosted public sessions to hear from folks about potential revisions to the BCP. Those were voted on in the July AIB meeting. And now on our website, if you go to the implementation plan page, there is the updated document reflecting the changes that were made and adopted at the July board meeting. So if you're looking for the newest copy, there is a document there. I don't think, Libby, help me, I don't think it's the prettiest copy yet. Like we have our folks that are working on making it super pretty, but the content is there if you're looking for what changed with that. You might also remember that at that session, some people raised points that were not directly Blueprint Comprehensive Plan. They may have been in the law. They may require legislative change. At our board meeting this week, the board members will be discussing the items that were not eligible to be changed or modified in the BCP, but that would require additional legislative action. So they'll be discussing recommendations for that pillar by pillar. And so we encourage you to follow along with that and to check the materials as they're posted to the website for documents that will be discussed at Thursday's meeting. There's 2 more things I wanted to mention. One of those, Kirk talked about, we've started the new year. We're back into career counseling. And I just wanted to take a second and note that MWA hosted the Raising the Bar conference last Monday. And the pre-conference for all of the youth forum topics was extraordinarily well attended. I know for the sessions that I was in and the folks that I got to connect with, the energy was very, very high around our 3rd year of this work and the progress that folks are making. So it was neat to feel that energy at the beginning of the year to kick off the next year of the work and the great things that are happening around the state. The last thing I want to mention, and then I'll stop rambling here, is that our AIB website is undergoing a complete overhaul and it will be updated and now focused more on progress monitoring. A lot's happened since we first launched that webpage, so you'll see some familiar pieces to it, and then you're going to see a lot more information. We do anticipate that it will go live in the coming weeks, but we don't have an exact date. So it's coming soon, and it's pretty exciting to see what you're going to be able to access from there, to include things like progress monitoring, data dashboards, and some more highlights about Blueprint in action. What are the good things that are happening that we can call attention to? So with that, are there any questions for myself or for Libby? All right, I'll turn it back over.
No, well, thank you, Rachel. Very good update and a lot going on. You know, summers are no longer slow periods of time. So, all right. Well, now I'll turn it over to Dave to kind of go through the purpose and expectation of this advisory committee. So, Dave.
Thank you, Kirk. We like every once in a while to take a look at the scope of Pillar 3. Pretty vast. I'm going to project a document for those who can see it with tiny font. It's okay if you can't read the text, but it's available on the AIB website at the Pillar 3 section. And it just shows that the work of the Pillar 3 is to advise the AIB when it comes to 3.1 through 3.4 of Maryland's Blueprint for Learning. And that includes the CCR standard, the assessment by which high school students are evaluated as college and career ready, which opens doors for them to new courses of study. 3.2, the blue section, involves components for keeping students on track. So evaluating, assessing students in advance of their 10th grade assessments to make sure that their trajectory is toward CCR readiness. And the orange portion, the CCR pathways, include things like individualized plans for junior and senior years that include early college and earning CTE credentials, IRCs, industry recognized credentials, apprenticeships. 3.4 really focuses on expansion of CTE offerings and participation. So I often like to think of the Blueprint for Learning as a legislation that makes high school more, that endeavors to make the Maryland K-12 system one of the foremost in the country and in the world by making high school more valuable than it was when I went through, because you graduate with a high school diploma and apprenticeship, or a high school diploma and IRCs, or a high school diploma and early college credentials. And the heartbeat of that is Pillar 3. And I'll pause here for Robin, for Kirkland, for Nona, for Isha, anybody to kind of clarify anything I might have spoken.
No, Dave, I think you covered it well. I mean, this is a vast pillar that has a lot of points of it, but as has been said, this pillar is the one that's really making sure that students are ready for success in their future and entering work or college or wherever their next step will be after graduation. So,
and that's the reason that it's such a big goal, to make high school more, to prepare students for careers, to prepare students for college, and to give them experience while they're still in high school, so that that's a smooth on-ramp after. But it takes a lot of parties involved in collaborating. So I'm representing, the post-secondary education, the workforce board, Robin, K-12, Nona, business and industry. So Isha, a student, and Jack Wilson, county leadership, and so many different partners.
Agree. So, David, you want to talk a little bit about the advisory committee's role in this and some of our meeting norms?
Happy to do so. We found we're advisory. It's right in the name. And we've found real success by listening carefully to how we can speak into the Blueprint Comprehensive Plan and during the initial implementation, phases during the run-up to metrics for the career coaching MOUs and for that work. So just as an example, we've met monthly, sometimes twice a month when the work required it. In this coming year, the cadence might not need to be quite so frequent. But some of the kinds of things that Pillar 3 has advised and recommended to AIB, to the committee, things like approvals for industry recognized credentials so that in localized regions that are really keyed in, where the educational systems are keyed in for particular industries, like marine, for example, places near the water, could have an avenue for approvals for IRCs that are locally relevant. Things like the CCR assessment, expanding the number of kinds of assessment that can qualify a student as college and career ready. We spent a lot of time talking about how much talent there is in high schools, and it's impossible for any one test or exam to evaluate if someone's ready for a career or for a college pathway, because those career pathways and college pathways are so disparate between trades and welding and tradition to health professions and pre-med to the liberal arts and sciences and college transfer track. So we really kind of rang the bell for multiple keys to that CCR door. And we've talked about career coaching metrics and kinds of things that we would want to see for success, and the fact that we want to hear from business and industry, hey, are these apprenticeships working? What can we do to make apprenticeship more attractive for your business or industry? And that's where you've seen AIB do some things like, try to relax some of the guidelines for a 1-to-1 ratio, or in some cases, some industries, a 2-to-1 ratio might work. So we just try to be a conduit for what's working, for where the challenges are, and how creative solutions can be found to those challenges. And in doing so, we've had some people come alongside us, like Molly Mesnard of the CTE committee, like Richard Kincaid from MSDE. And it's been really good. We've had good attendance from Christy Dreyer and the chief academic officers from Maryland's community colleges. And I think some of the best meetings have come when we've had students to give us firsthand experiences of what was working from their perspective.
Yeah, and I would just add that, the sharing across the different LEAs has, I think, been great insights for just some of those LEAs that are still trying to build, certain aspects of their CCR plan. So I also agree that that student perspective, but also that LEA perspective has been really helpful.
Did anybody else in the committee want to add to reflecting on the work that we've done in the past?
I think that you all summarized it really well. Like, we've seen it go from, I think, us interpreting a lot of the blueprint to actually seeing some action, which has been really rewarding. So I think our role has kind of changed. For those of us who were here from the beginning, I think in the beginning we were just really trying to understand what that looked like. And then as we brought guests on, we were able to see it in person, and that was really helpful to see that whole trajectory. So yeah, I'm looking forward to like the next phase of what this looks like for the committees and seeing more progress.
Thank you, Robin. Anything you would like to add?
I would just say like the same thing. I think it's been really meaningful to hear, especially from students. I remember last year we had quite a few students who came and spoke to our committee about how they were actually benefiting from these college career readiness programs, from these apprenticeship programs. And I think that really goes to show that the work that we're doing is important, and that we just need to continue to work super hard and help more students across the state of Maryland.
Well said. Well said. So it's been some exciting times on this, and I agree with Robin that when we first started this, we were all trying to figure out what is our role and where is this committee going, and what are we responsible for, and it's kind of matured over this. I think we've had a good cadence in bringing in guest speakers. If you reflect back onto the document that Dave showed a few minutes ago about the different the different parts of Pillar 3. I think we made sure that we touched on all those parts of it and not just on certain parts of it. So I'm really proud of the work that this committee has done over the last several years, and looking forward to continuing that. So with that said, do we want to jump down to, we're really flying through this meeting. So I think this is our first meeting. This is really, we want to do exactly what we're doing, is reflecting a little bit, making sure that we remind people what the purpose of this committee. But I think we want to spend the rest of a good part of the rest of our meeting talking about where do we go next? Looking at meeting cadence, as David mentioned, sometimes we met twice a month, depending on what was going on and what we needed to do. But we were trying to keep it to once a month. I like to throw it out to see if we think that once a month is too much, or do we want to go to every other month and have a meeting? So I'd just like to throw that out for discussion with for the rest of the committee.
Kirk, I can also just chime in from AIB perspective that the minimum requirement is once a quarter. So some of our committees actually look at like holidays and when things are impacting, or when there's a flow of materials coming in to review and look at. So you do not have to meet monthly, and you don't even have to meet every other month, but you can totally customize your meeting schedule.
And I think it makes sense that initially during implementation, we were reading more, there were more question marks. And so we needed to be more frequently discussing and inviting feedback. Now that we're moving toward progress monitoring, that cadence suggestion, I think, is well taken. I have a sketch in a minute I'll project that was generated an email thread that it's sort of 6, so more than quarterly, but gives us 6 sort of every other month, as you said. And we could always schedule additional meetings as the work requires.
David, do you
Yeah,
want to share that sketch?
And we
I
can
would just
we
like
can
to say-
speak into it, like right now, especially while we have LEAs, we have business and industry and workforce, and we have higher ed represented. Just to take a look at some of the opportunities. So if we think through November, January, March, what you see is some kind of secondary education success and or student feature, a community college feature, potentially in January, with acknowledgement that there's going to be a best practices report coming in December. That could be the substance of a January meeting. March, updated and expanded CCR standards. How's it going, right? That will be into the implementation of that expansion, so we could take a look at the progress. April should put us at a time where, like we did last year, legislative update, if any of these things went through and what are the implications. So I'll just pause here to see if there are additions or edits folks might like to suggest, especially around the November 18th, which is, more or less around the corner.
Yeah, I think as we are more focused on the progress monitoring, it would be great to start to look for any use of actionable data with some of the career coaching. I know that these metrics are, just being rolled out and implemented, but thinking about the work that Baltimore's Promise is doing, we have a data hub and we have a pilot healthcare apprenticeship program that there could be some opportunity to see how that data is being braided together to align employer engagement with youth career pathways. So I'll just throw that out as a potential option.
Thank you. I'm going to try to capture notes, acknowledging this is all draft form, right? Subject to further edits as we reflect, as a committee. But yes, thank you.
So I think those are all good points. Definitely trying to get, opportunities for students to give a voice, or to be part of these meetings. I think it's very important. Rachel, MSDE is really taking the lead on professional development and rolling out that professional development for career coaching. Do we think that this might be having an opportunity for them to present what this professional development's looking like?
I think that would be an amazing topic. I know that they shared pieces of it at our session at Raising the Bar, but I think that it's just constantly evolving. And we know that there are plans for trainings in person, some virtual, some for one group and another group, but also a platform coming. I think it's a Canvas platform that will allow folks to engage. So I think hearing about all of those things and as they're continuing to iterate would be fabulous, as well as what people need. So MSDE has made it very clear that this is their first iteration of planning and that they want to make sure that it meets the needs of career counselors and all of the partners as they implement. So I think it would be a great opportunity to become informed and to seek feedback.
I was also, I don't know if it would be necessarily for this meeting, but a new a change that is also coming from MSCE is an implementation of new math framework. It's a pretty big lift. It's going to completely change the way that we instruct math, especially in high school. But it is a shift from K to 12. And I don't think that it's still relatively new, like the LEAs know about it, but they're just starting to work out office hours for schools to kind of be like a liaison to answer questions to the community and to families. This group, it might be a time to highlight that with a representative from MSCE who's leading that work to explain that for our team and anyone else who's watching, so because of the connection to CCR. It's going to be quite a lift, both for MSCE and the LEAs to make this shift because not many states do this. It's going to be integrated math. So instead of Algebra 1, Algebra 2, geometry, instead those courses are combined into integrated math 1 and 2 in high school. And then the other classes from there, when you're junior and senior, would align to whatever pathway you are completing. So it does really connect to Pillar 3, and it's a pretty big shift. So I don't know if November is necessarily the meeting, but I was thinking about it when you mentioned MSCE, that was one that kind of popped up for me as a big topic.
I think that is a marvelous topic. And they did come and present to strategic facilitators once last year. So I'm sure that there are even more updates, and then just to get that information out. And then, Robin, you made me realize that math comprehensive plans are due to MSDE this fall and will be reviewed, I believe, in October. That may be something that could be combined together with that topic on math.
Yeah, that's great.
And then also speaking of MSDE, I know they're starting to work on a 6-year plan. Not sure where they are with that, the 6-year plan for career coaching. So it seems like what we're going with is that our November meeting, we may want to see if our partners from MSDE are available and we can cover a couple topics from MSDE in the November 18th meeting.
I think that is fabulous. Whoever's taking notes, if you could capture, it looks like we would want to be requesting Lindsay Brightful from math and Richard Kincaid and/or his team for the 6-year plans and career coaching counseling.
Yep.
So we'll share this with Gretchen tomorrow when she's back, and we'll reach out and see if they're available on the 18th.
And the conclusion of November can lead to discussion of January. We don't have to have this level of detail for each of those, but I will scroll down. so we can take another look at each of the other topics coming up. And yes, we're allowed to have a short meeting. This is a light planning meeting. But anything else we want to say about November 18? It looks full, looks
It looks
good.
full.
It's
It
a
looks
minimum
full.
an hour and a half for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. I think you've got I don't know if this can anyone help me with the verbiage? Another option, presentation on findings from CTE committee's best practices report, which is due to AIB in December. Do we want to put any kind of meat on that bone?
So I think Rachel, please correct me if I'm wrong. Is this the report that the Governor's Workforce Board is responsible?
Hold on, I'm looking at it. I got distracted by an email. Kirk, can you tell me again the December 1 report?
Yeah, the presentation of the findings from the CTE committee best practices. That's the
Yes.
report that they're having JFF work on.
They've involved them in the production of this process, yes, of that report.
Would that report be done by our January 20th?
It should be. It's due December 1. It's due December 1, as well as their annual report, which we do know they've requested an extension on that. But my understanding is that things are underway to get the JFF submission done by December 1. I think January 20th would be no problem to bring back the highlights.
So maybe what we would do is check with the CTE committee to see if they'll be ready to present that report and the findings, to have a discussion around that. I think that would be a great opportunity.
Perfect.
And then Dave, we also have on there community college innovation and success stories with students. At Raising the Bar, there was a panel with several community colleges talking about their role in Pillar 3 and college and career readiness. So maybe having a repeat of that, or maybe find some other community colleges that are doing some good things and maybe have a discussion for them to share. One of the areas that we want to continue to build our muscle with is having the community colleges being a part of college and career readiness.
Love it. It has implications for us too, the CCR standard and what happens with the integrated mathematics plan. Our faculty think deeply about that and how that preparation leads to our dual enrollment, and because we're receiving those students. So we want to have a lot of conversation with our LEA partners around CCR standards and just making it as smooth of an on-ramp or a bridge from high school to college as possible. So, okay, good.
So I think that will be a full meeting right there with those two things.
Yep.
We can look at what the possible guests will be from the community college part, but I know at this one, I think it was Howard Community College, Anne Arundel, and Baltimore County Community College. But we can look and see who else are doing good things. I think Prince George's Community College is doing some good things, and
I'd love to put one note in this, just across all of the meetings and all of the guests, that we do try to vary the representation of all of the counties that are coming to share. We actually are engaged in a pretty deep dive right now of all of the data around the progress monitoring meetings and are hearing great stories. So Gretchen will be able to share some additional things that we can highlight. I know there's a few things, phenomenal things that we'll be highlighting out on the Eastern Shore in the coming months that may also be of interest here as well.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Rachel. I mean, we have to make sure that we're taking the diversity of the LEAs, the different sizes and geographic.
Yes. Another thing I can put on your radar is that the CTE committee will be continuing their ERT visits this year. So they visited in between last year and this year. They will be visiting every county. And last year they did half. This year they'll be doing about half. But they will have their reports for each of these available if the committee would be interested in just kind of seeing the individual summaries, as well as we have talked about getting more information, kind of a summary view of what did they learn from last year in their visit to half of the counties, and kind of what are they seeing as progress to the 45%. And then just the local nuance of how this is going to reach all of the goals surrounding the CTE blueprint expectations.
I'm riffing a little here, so please
Sure.
feel free to edit. But as we move into March, that might be an ideal time to have some expert
Yeah.
review team guests to kind of
Mhm.
throw us some highlights our way. And is there going to be some data for the new CCR standard to look at yet? I mean, will we have substance to talk about by that point?
CCR standard. I don't know about data for CCR standard, but we certainly can ask. We'll definitely have the ERT reports by school from this past school year and what they've done for the current. There's data embedded in those on some of the progress to 45%, that piece. On the CCR side, I assume you're talking about kind of the new measures. I'm not expecting data this year that I can think of off the top of my head. I feel like baseline data for that might be available the next year.
Do you want to mention it at all, or is it best to just hold?
Let's put a note to figure that out before March.
Mhm.
I think you can keep it on there, and then we'll see what's available and what may be the pertinent information at that time. I can also mention to you, just now that you've got my brain going in more directions, on December 1st, we will receive the 9th grade tracker from MSDE. And so that's an annual report. It's not that hefty of a read, that just shows our progress with students being CCR ready by 9th grade, how many are on track to be CCR. So there will be a report. We will work to send it to you once we have received it so that you can review it, and then it might just be worthy of a little bit of a conversation.
Thank you. Good. April seems self-explanatory to me because we'll know when we get there.
Yes. Y'all are meeting on my birthday this year. There's two things for April: the legislative update, which would be the summary of what happened in session, and then we may also need you to hold, I don't know is there a meeting after April? Is there a May or a June? Okay. Yes, we may need to hold one of those for what we did this year with public input sessions for Blueprint Comprehensive Plan updates. There we go. There it is. But we are thinking internally that we can combine that into one meeting, that Joy Schaefer, our government affairs person, would be able to come and share about the session and what's happened, it potentially kind of embedded in the what are we looking at, seeking input for potential changes needed for the BCP.
Copy. I mean, these are good to pencil in,
Yeah, you got plenty of
Mhm.
time.
and then we can return to them as
Oh,
need
now that
be.
I see the June topic, I can tell you more things. Dave, you show me things, I'll keep telling you things. In July, we received the annual reports from the Career Counseling Partnership. So those are available now. If anybody would like, we'll be able to post, we can get you a link to those.
Did you
if you'd
say
like.
July?
This past July, a couple months ago,
Okay.
we received
Okay.
the annual reports, but in October, we'll be receiving the fiscal reports. They're due by October 15th. We are also engaging this fall in a review of the MOUs across the state. I don't know that that's Kirk,
Yeah.
tell me if I'm wrong.
They're so
That might
unique.
not be an engaging meeting topic. There will be an MOU for every partnership that there is. But the annual reports and fiscal reports do give a lot of insight into how the program is going in all of the regions and all of the LEAs.
I'm going to stop sharing now.
No,
Now
so
that I've been
You're going to
warned.
stop showing me things, aren't you?
So, so you have the reports you have the summary of the reports from that were due this July.
Summary is an interesting word, Kirk. We have the reports. Gretchen's been mining them. She has been going through them and trying to pull out key pieces of information. But we definitely have everyone's that comes in, and we will be giving feedback to each partnership in each county. We will give feedback. That is not done yet, so we don't have a final summary, but we have everybody's submission.
So when would be the appropriate time to share that information in this meeting?
The fiscal ones will be in October 15th. They take a while for us to go through
Right,
because
it takes you a
there's a
while.
lot in them. I'm gonna say probably the January meeting, not the November meeting.
Yeah, so maybe we may want to look at that, maybe under the AIB update,
Sure.
you guys can give us, the highlights from the programmatic reports that were due
Yeah.
last July 1st, and then the fiscal reports that were due that came in October. You guys
Yep.
can give us an update on that during your AIB update in that meeting.
Absolutely. And then that would tie well also with the report due by CTE, December
Mhm.
1. It would just flow nicely together.
Yep.
What do you want me to put there for November?
November.
Did I mishear you?
I think January
It'll
is
be January meeting.
Okay. What do
for
you what?
November. Like, we are happy to pass you links to the documents as we receive them. They'll be posted on our website. If you want to, skim through different LEAs, it's not LEAs, different counties submissions, then you can scroll through them, and then if members want to each take 4 and bring back some thoughts that they noticed, or if you want to wait for January, we can bring back just the high level data and trends that we're seeing.
All right, so I got it. So November, we just get the pillar members get links to the data, which we
Yep.
can review for some level of comment in January.
Correct. And the public
Okay.
can see them too. They'll be out there. And then
Copy that.
January, we'll bring more of the narrative summary or the data summary of what we saw, and CTE will come with their report of best practices in the MOUs that they work with JFF to complete about career counseling.
I'm just gonna need your help clarifying. So like, I
Yep, you
think,
bet.
yeah, I think Libby was on the call and she can I think she's in the document a little bit, so she can help where I fall short on these notes to make sure we capture it.
And the good news is Gretchen will know what we mean too.
Yay.
So the one thing that we really didn't talk about in these meetings that we said was really important is getting the student voice in this. So I think maybe we want to find opportunities that we can maybe start off some of our meetings right after the AIB update, maybe with a student perspective or a local area perspective on how different parts of Pillar 3 are being implemented in their jurisdiction.
I think being in high school, I do have a few friends and people at my school who are doing apprenticeship programs and who are enrolled in dual enrollment. So I actually have one friend who is doing an apprenticeship program at a elementary school, so that takes up the bulk of her day. So if need be, I can also reach out to those individuals if they want to give their perspective on this meeting as well.
That would be excellent.
I can plan to invite with the community college feature, whichever community colleges to invite them to have students with.
Mhm.
I'm just making a note too in each of our monthlies to not forget when it comes to inviting guests.
Right. Well, guys, I think it's going to be a very, very active, robust year for this committee.
Looks good to me. We did more than I thought and more quickly too. So appreciate that time, that quick brainstorm session. Thank you.
Yeah, it's not even 4 o'clock. Look at that.
So anything else you guys would like to discuss in the last few minutes that we have together?
All
Well,
good here.
Well, thank you all for this meeting. This was our first kickoff meeting, and we really wanted to just set the stage for the coming year, which I think we have achieved. So thank you for your dedication and commitment. Robin, we're going to miss you, but you're going on to bigger and better things with being on the full AIB, and I'm sure we'll be staying in touch. And you're always welcome to come to these meetings.
Thanks for that. Yeah, I'm excited, but I am gonna miss this group. I mean, we've been on here for a while together, so
You bring in the Shore. I'm glad to have a Shore,
You
Eastern
bring in
Shore
the Shore
champion there.
and then you bring into perspective. I think that's what we have to make sure when we look at filling out this committee, that there is someone. I mean, we've lost both Olivia and now Robin from the LEA, to make sure we're having that voice on this committee, because I think that's what you guys brought, that passion and those concerns from the LEAs on this. So we can't forget to have that. So that's going to be very important.
Truth.
All right. If nothing else, I don't believe in holding people around with all the busy things that people have on their calendar. So I just want to thank you guys, and Rachel and Libby. Thank you from the AIB. You guys are doing great work. I still don't know how you guys get everything done, but you do. So really appreciate your support.
Thank you, and thank you for the commitment of all of you. You guys have funneled and channeled great information and feedback about everything in Pillar 3. So we very much appreciate it, and we're looking forward to that next meeting.
All right, thanks
Afternoon,
everyone.
everybody.
Enjoy the rest of your day and the rest of your week.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. I'm gonna jump off here. Do we need to jump on a meet, or are we good?